With coming off the break and then, this weekend off, is there any worry on your end about, getting the guys back up to game speed, with that extra weekend off?
Yeah, well, just getting our heads around it. I think we knew going into this season, what was lying ahead as far as some uncertainty. Throughout the first half of the season, getting into the pod, having some certainty there, and then getting back into the home and away schedule. So I think we knew that. But in saying that, I think right now, the league and Bill Chaves and Eric Martinson, they're very proactive on trying for us to play here shortly. So, we haven't given up on playing on the short term here, even though that Omaha had some cases, which doesn't allow us to play. I think there's plans in place going forward. Hopefully that we can, resume our regular season schedule here shortly. And again, I think that's due to the hard work of the NCHC and our athletic department.
So what's the biggest factor this week in practice? You don't have another series now, but you're trying to just keep the players and keep continuing on the ice and staying active.
Yeah, well, that all becomes part of their leadership group here. You have to have very good leadership in the fact that they convey your message as a coaching staff on having a process in place to give you success, and then also communication is key. Talking to your players on a daily basis to give them updates on what's going on, and instead of speculating and letting some anxiety get into their heads. So communication and having some positivity and belief that we will be playing, and for sure we will shortly.
The next games on your schedule right now are January 15th and 16th at Denver. I get the impression that you believe you guys are going to play before January 15th or 16th.
Yeah, I think, there's got to be some things that we got to check off here, and I guess the league does, and different things to do. But, without getting too, deep into the weeds here, there's some openness, within our league, within our athletic department, within the different programs of the NCHC of trying to figure out ways of healthy programs playing, all healthy programs playing at this point in time. We know that, the next week, 2 weeks, 2 months, we don't know what's down the road, but we do know exactly where we are right now, and it's just an openness within programs in our league of trying to find out ways to be open and flexible of playing, not knowing what could happen down the road.
You guys, I know Josh Fenton has talked about the idea, they've thrown around the idea of a pod for the postseason. You guys got through your 10 games in the pod. You're 0 for 4 in trying to get games in since the pod. Has that influenced your thoughts on whether the league should do another pod for the postseason?
Yeah, I think that, yeah, exactly right, Brad. I think, the body of work kind of tells you that if you can get into what you could call a controlled environment, you'd have the best chance of everybody playing, not just a few teams, and that gives you the best chance. So I think there's got to be some, I guess, talk and some openness within a lot of programs to want to do that. And I think there's been discussions. The focus of our season right now is trying to play the rest of the regular season schedule out. But obviously there's some forethought to try to have a plan in place for the postseason. And I think that gives everybody their best chance to do it. I think we're going through a time right now, me being the head coach here, I think, going back to the start of the year, I think everybody has their traditional or ways they want to approach a weekend series being a Friday, Saturday, and that's the only way we want to do this. I think right now we'd be fools to believe if we want to stay on that track. I think everybody, coaching staffs, athletic departments, the league in general, they have to have some open-mindedness here of maybe playing on weeknights, maybe playing situations where you're playing a bunch of games in a short amount of time. I think everybody has to remain safe. They have to be proactive and being diligent and giving themselves the best chance to do it, staying within protocol. But I think we have to be open-minded on trying to, fulfill the rest of the season, regular season schedule of being open and flexible and whatever that looks like.
Has the league given you any guidance on whether you would be allowed to play non-conference games or not?
Yeah, there's been some discussion on that. I think our first mindset is to try to get all the regular season games within our league done. Whether that's on a weekend, whether that's during the week, whatever have you. I think that's the emphasis right now, and it should be. But I do think I think we as a league, we know that if more teams, come down with the virus and they get compromised by not playing on the weekends, that if there's few teams sitting out and some few teams that are still active. That's got to be maybe on the table, down the road. But right now, I think our focus is playing the regular season games and trying to get everybody that has healthy teams right now active from weekend to weekend, or week to week, I should say.
You're a Canadian World Junior gold medal winner. You've got 2 of your players playing for the U.S. against Canada tonight. What are your thoughts on the game tonight and who you're pulling for?
Well, it's funny you mentioned that, Brad. Before practice, we brought everybody in at center ice before we started our drills today, and we talked about last year. We talked about JBD going against Shane Pinto head to head, and there's one winner coming out, and it was JBD last year. And even though Pinto had a really strong World Junior, and obviously our team's made up of Canadians and Americans, and myself included, being an alum that won a gold medal, that you're always cheering for Canada. But I think at the end of the day, family comes first, and we have Kleven and Sanderson on the U.S. team. They have a chance to do something very special that a lot of players don't have an opportunity to do, to win a gold medal for your country. I think at this time we got to be consolidated and support our teammates, our family, on cheering for them. So that was a message today, and our guys were excited about it.
Do you know where your World Junior medal is? Do you have one?
Yeah, it's tucked away in a safety deposit box somewhere in Grand Forks here. I don't trust it being in my house, put it that way. I won't tell you what bank either.